In the mid-60s, the Monkees burst onto the scene, blending music and comedy in a way that charmed audiences worldwide. The band's infectious songs and quirky television show made them household names. Now, 60 years later, fans are curious, what became of the original members of this iconic group? As we step into 2025, we take a closer look at their lives, tracing their careers, personal milestones, and the legacies they've left behind. Join us in revisiting the journey of these beloved stars, from their heyday to where they are today. Davey Jones, who played Davy in the Monkees in 1965 at the age of 20, became the quintessential heartthrob of the group, beloved for his charming smile and catchy songs. However, his life behind the scenes was far from the idyllic image his fans adored. Davy was married 3 times, but none of his marriages lasted. His first marriage to actress Linda Haynes ended in divorce after a few years. His second marriage, to Anita, was filled with emotional strife, and his third marriage, to Jessica Pacheco, fell apart shortly before his death. Davy had 3 daughters, but despite his family, he struggled with loneliness and emotional turmoil. Throughout his life, the pressures of fame, broken relationships, and personal insecurities weighed heavily on him, leading to declining health. He passed away on February 29, 2012, at the age of 66 due to a heart attack, just 1 year after his marriage ended. His tragic death underscored the pain of his personal struggles, despite his public success. Peter Tork, who played Peter in the Monkees at the age of 23, was known for his lovable and slightly naive character, offering comic relief and sincerity. Despite his early success, Peter's career after the Monkees struggled to break free from typecasting, leaving him feeling unfulfilled and disconnected. His personal life mirrored his career difficulties. His first marriage to Jackie ended in divorce, though they had 2 children together. His second marriage to Jody also fell apart under the strain of personal issues. Peter battled depression, addiction, and financial instability, which led to deep personal struggles and a sense of isolation. Though he continued to perform music, the emotional toll of his struggles remained heavy. Peter Tork passed away on February 21, 2019, at the age of 77, after a long battle with cancer. His death marked the end of a life defined by unfulfilled potential and internal pain, leaving behind a legacy tainted by the sorrow that he never fully overcame. Michael Nesmith, who portrayed Mike in the Monkees in 1965 at the age of 23, played the serious and thoughtful guitarist, often the voice of reason within the group. While his role as the more grounded band member provided him with fame, it was also a source of internal conflict, as he struggled against being pigeonholed within the confines of a manufactured TV band. Nesmith's career included a mix of successes and frustrations, notably with his efforts to distance himself from the Monkees and establish a solo career in music and film. His personal life, however, was tumultuous. He married Phyllis Barber, with whom he had 3 children, but the marriage ended in divorce. He remarried Catherine, but that relationship also faced difficulties, and they later separated. The emotional toll of his failed marriages and his strained relationship with his son, Christian, remained a significant part of his life. Despite his success, Nesmith's struggles with fame and personal satisfaction haunted him. Michael passed away on December 10, 2021, at 78, from heart failure. Henry Cordon, who portrayed the irritable landlord Babbitt in the Monkees in 1966 at 46, found success in voice acting, most notably as Fred Flintstone in The Flintstones after Alan Reed's death. However, his personal life was fraught with hardship. Cordon married twice, but his first marriage ended in divorce, and his second marriage was similarly troubled. Despite having a family, his relationships remained strained, and the emotional toll of his personal life often overshadowed his professional achievements. Cordon's later years were marked by a decline in health, as he was diagnosed with emphysema, which limited his ability to work and led to a prolonged period of suffering. The weight of his deteriorating health was compounded by the feeling of having never fully achieved the recognition he deserved. He passed away on May 19, 2005, at 85, from complications related to emphysema, leaving behind a legacy of both professional success and personal sadness. Vincent Beck, who portrayed Ivan in The Monkees in 1966, was 42 years old when he began filming the role of the villainous Ivan. The character was a menacing figure, constantly scheming against the Monkees, adding tension and danger to the episodes. Off-screen, Beck's life was filled with personal challenges. His marriage was troubled, and despite having children, his relationships with them were strained, with little connection beyond surface-level interactions. As Beck grew older, he found it increasingly difficult to balance his career and family life, leading to a sense of isolation. He eventually faced the devastating diagnosis of cancer, which worsened in his final years. His declining health left him unable to enjoy his remaining time, and on July 24, 1984, Beck passed away at the age of 59, leaving behind a legacy marred by personal struggles and unresolved emotional pain. His untimely death was a somber end to a career that could have been marked by much more. Vic Tayac, who portrayed Chuche in The Monkees in 1966, was 36 years old when he took on the role of the tough, intimidating character. Chuche was a memorable figure, adding a layer of danger and unpredictability to the series, but Tayac's personal life was full of turmoil. He had a troubled marriage that ended in divorce, leaving him emotionally scarred and distanced from his children. Despite his success in television and film, Tayac struggled with feelings of inadequacy and often turned to unhealthy coping mechanisms. The stress from his personal life and health issues began to take a toll on him, and his health declined rapidly in his later years. Tayac passed away suddenly from a heart attack on May 25, 1990, at the age of 60. His death came after years of unresolved emotional pain, with many of his personal battles left unaddressed. While he was known for his talent, his passing was a stark reminder of the harsh realities behind the camera. Larry Gelman, who portrayed the director in The Monkees in 1966 at the age of 36, brought to life a character that was humorous yet perpetually frazzled, often struggling to maintain order amidst the chaotic antics of the Monkees. Though his role was memorable and brought a certain charm to the show, his personal life was far from as smooth. Larry had a history of tumultuous relationships and personal struggles. He married twice, but both marriages ended in bitterness and divorce, leaving him emotionally scarred. Though he had children, his relationships with them were strained, as his career often took precedence over family life. As his acting career faded, Larry fell into relative obscurity, struggling financially and battling a sense of purposelessness. In his later years, his physical health deteriorated, and he suffered a tragic fall that ultimately led to his death on June 7, 2021, at the age of 90. His passing was marked by years of personal despair and isolation, which ultimately overshadowed the success he had enjoyed on screen. Tork, who played the inspector in The Monkees in 1966, was 49 years old when he took on the role of the no-nonsense, authoritative figure. The inspector was a stern character who often tried to bring order to the chaotic antics of the Monkees, yet Clark's own life was filled with struggles. His marriage was fraught with tension, and despite his efforts to maintain a strong family bond, his relationship with his children remained distant and unfulfilling. As Clark grew older, his health began to deteriorate, with diabetes and cancer making it difficult for him to maintain any sense of stability. The strain of his illnesses, coupled with his personal regrets, overshadowed his later years. Tork passed away on March 30, 1989, at the age of 71. His death marked the end of a life filled with both professional success and deep personal losses, as his final years were consumed by the weight of illness and emotional hardship. Art Lewis, who played Artie in The Monkees in 1967 at the age of 50, portrayed a quirky and endearing character that brought humor and warmth to the show. However, behind the scenes, Art's life was fraught with hardships that matched the unpredictability of his character. Art married and had children, but his family life was marred by personal struggles. His marriage ended in a bitter divorce, leaving him with feelings of loss and regret. His career, while successful in the 1960s, suffered from periods of stagnation, and he was unable to break free from typecasting. As he aged, Art's personal and professional struggles continued to take a toll on him. Despite some notable roles, he often found himself working in obscurity, and his financial situation became precarious. Art's later years were marked by declining health and an ongoing battle with depression. He passed away on February 19, 2005, at the age of 87, a death that came after years of feeling sidelined and forgotten. George Firth, who portrayed Henry in the Monkees in 1966 at the age of 34, was the nervous, bespectacled character who often found himself in awkward and comedic situations. While his role on the show was beloved, his personal life was a series of misfortunes. George married twice, but both of his marriages ended in painful divorces. His personal life was marked by deep loneliness and a lack of meaningful connections, as his career could never fully make up for the emptiness he felt in his relationships. Despite his acting success, George found it difficult to transition to other roles and often struggled financially. In his later years, his health deteriorated rapidly, and he was plagued by chronic illness. On August 11, 2008, George Firth passed away at the age of 75 from a lung infection, a tragic end to a life marked by professional highs overshadowed by deep personal lows and struggles that seemed to follow him to the very end. Ted DeCorsia, who played Blackbeard in the Monkees in 1967 at the age of 62, was cast as the menacing and intimidating pirate, bringing a sense of danger and excitement to the show. Blackbeard's character was not only a fierce adversary but also a reminder of the darker, more chaotic forces that can exist in life. Ted DeCorsia's career had its fair share of ups and downs, though he was well established by the time he appeared on the Monkees. His acting career spanned several decades, yet the latter part of his life was overshadowed by struggles with his health and personal demons. DeCorsia married once, but his personal life was far from stable. His marriage ended in divorce, and he never remarried. His later years were clouded by the decline of his health and an ongoing battle with depression. Despite his earlier successes, Ted was deeply affected by the emptiness that came with the loss of meaningful relationships. Ted DeCorsia passed away on April 11, 1973, at the age of 67, due to complications from cancer. Ron Mosek, who portrayed the Count in the Monkees in 1968 at 32, embodied the charming yet mysterious character, often caught up in humorous schemes that reflected his eccentricity. As an actor, he had an enduring career in both television and film, but his rise to fame was overshadowed by personal hardships. While his career continued to offer steady work, his personal life told a much darker story. Mosek married his college sweetheart, but their relationship faced constant strain. He and his wife had children, but his family life was far from perfect, as he struggled with his own emotional conflicts and the pressures of maintaining a public image. The tragic passing of his son, Michael, to a car accident in 1990, further deepened the sorrow in Mosek's life, leaving a wound that would never fully heal. He passed away on October 20, 2022, at 86, leaving behind a legacy filled with both triumph and deep, painful loss. Rip Taylor, who portrayed Glick in the Monkees in 1967 at the age of 36, brought to life the flamboyant and eccentric character known for his wild antics and larger-than-life comedic presence. His career in comedy was marked by fame, but it came with its own set of tragic personal struggles. Known for his loud, outrageous persona, Taylor's public life was a stark contrast to his private battles with loneliness and self-doubt. Taylor's personal life was marked by failed relationships, including a long-term romantic relationship that ended painfully, leaving him with an enduring sense of abandonment. Despite his success, he had difficulty maintaining lasting connections, and his need for constant attention and validation masked a deep inner turmoil. Taylor's later years were marred by health issues, including struggles with depression and anxiety. He passed away on October 6, 2019, at 88, from congestive heart failure, leaving behind a complex legacy of laughter intertwined with personal sorrow. Bert Musen, who played the butler in the Monkees in 1967, was 83 years old when he started filming the role of the dignified and dependable butler. Musten's character was a source of both class and humor, often providing a grounding presence among the eccentric chaos of the Monkees. Off-screen, however, Bert Musten's personal life was filled with loss and tragedy. Despite his long career, Musten's later years were marred by the death of his beloved wife, which left him devastated. He struggled with depression and isolation, especially as he grew older. Despite his gruff exterior on screen, he felt the weight of personal grief deeply. Musten's health began to deteriorate in the 1970s, and he passed away on January 28, 1977, at the age of 92. His death marked the end of a long life that had been punctuated by personal losses, leaving behind a legacy tinged with the sadness of his private battles. Henry Beckman, who portrayed the DA in the Monkees in 1967, was 46 years old when he first played the stern and authoritative figure. The DA was a character that commanded respect, often seen investigating the chaotic antics of the Monkees, yet Beckman's personal life was anything but orderly. Despite his success as an actor, Beckman's family life was strained, marked by the challenges of balancing work and relationships. His marriage went through troubled times, leading to a bitter divorce that left him emotionally distant from his children. As he grew older, his health began to deteriorate, and he faced both physical and emotional struggles. Beckman spent his later years battling illness and loneliness, which overshadowed his career. On June 17, 2008, at the age of 86, Henry Beckman passed away. His death, after years of personal and health difficulties, left a somber reflection on a life that had been marked by both professional success and profound private sorrow. Gom Pitlick, who portrayed Harry in the Monkees in 1967, was 35 years old when he began filming the role of the quirky and endearing Harry. Harry's character was often put in amusing, awkward situations, yet Pitlick's own life was filled with complex struggles. He faced difficulties in his relationships, particularly in his marriage, which ended in divorce. Despite his charm on screen, Pitlick's personal life was marked by instability, and his struggles with emotional health grew over time. The pressures of a career in Hollywood, combined with personal issues, took a heavy toll on him. He was also haunted by the loss of close friends and family members, which contributed to his growing sense of loneliness. After years of battling these personal demons, Pitlick was diagnosed with lung cancer. He passed away on February 18, 1999, at the age of 66, leaving behind a career filled with promise but overshadowed by the pain of his personal and emotional battles. Milton FR, who played Latham in the Monkees in 1967 at the age of 58, was known for his stern, no-nonsense demeanor, often serving as a foil to the Monkees' wild antics. His portrayal of the character added a rare level of seriousness to the otherwise lighthearted show. Despite a long and respectable acting career, Milton's personal life was filled with struggles. He married twice, but both marriages ended in bitterness and separation. His relationship with his children was distant, with little contact after his divorces. Professionally, although he worked steadily in television and film, Milton's career never achieved the level of recognition he hoped for. He faced declining health in his later years, particularly battling heart disease, which eventually led to his death from congestive heart failure on March 21, 1989, at the age of 80. Milton's final years were marked by isolation, reflecting a life full of personal and emotional setbacks. Gene Dynarski, who played Toto in the Monkees in 1966 at the age of 33, portrayed a scheming, troublesome character who delighted in causing chaos for the Monkees. However, Gene's life off-screen was far less carefree. Though he enjoyed a solid career as a character actor, Gene's personal life was fraught with turmoil. He was married multiple times, but none of his relationships lasted, and he struggled to maintain strong familial connections. Despite his successful career in television and film, Gene's later years were marked by financial difficulties, largely due to poor investments and his inability to secure consistent roles. As his health deteriorated in his later years, Gene faced the consequences of his past decisions. He passed away on February 27, 2020, at the age of 86, following a long battle with chronic illnesses. His death marked the end of a life full of unfulfilled dreams and a career that never reached the heights he had hoped for. Len Ler, who portrayed George in the Monkees in 1966 at 44, brought a quirky and endearing energy to the series. His character often found himself in odd, yet humorous situations, providing comic relief in the Monkees' zany world. Off-screen, however, Len's personal life was fraught with difficulty. He was married twice, but both unions ended in divorce, and his relationships with his children were strained. Professionally, despite his talent and unique presence, Len struggled to find consistent work outside of his role as George. The latter part of his career was marked by financial instability and deteriorating health. Len's health issues culminated in his passing on February 16, 2011, at the age of 88, due to cancer-related pneumonia. His death was a sad end to a life spent in the shadows of greater fame, reflecting a career that, despite its charm, never quite gave him the personal happiness or success he deserved. Rose Marie, who portrayed Millie in the Monkees in 1966 at the age of 43, was a beloved figure who brought her own brand of wit and humor to the show. Her character, Millie, was charming and lively, but Rose Marie's personal life was full of heartache. She had 2 marriages, both of which ended in divorce. Her first marriage to Bobby Guy, a composer, ended after a turbulent relationship. Her second marriage also ended in separation after years of strain. Rose Marie's daughter, Georgiana, was a constant source of joy for her, but she was tragically lost to illness at a young age, compounding the grief Rose Marie felt. Despite facing these difficult personal challenges, Rose Marie continued to work in the entertainment industry, maintaining a successful career in television for many years. She also struggled with health issues in her later years, but she kept her humor and resilience. Rose Marie passed away on December 28, 2017, at the age of 94, after a life full of both joy and sadness. Regis Cordic, who played the Doctor in the Monkees in 1967 at the age of 41, was known for his calm and reassuring presence, which provided a sense of stability amid the chaos of the show. His career in television and radio spanned decades, yet his personal life was filled with deep sorrow. Regis's first wife passed away unexpectedly, an event that left him devastated and led to a period of emotional turmoil. He remarried later in life, but this relationship also ended in divorce after years of hardship. Regis's struggles didn't end with his personal life. In his later years, he was diagnosed with brain cancer, which slowly deteriorated his health. Despite the ongoing grief from losing his wife and the challenges of his illness, Regis continued to work as long as his health allowed. He passed away on April 16, 1999, at the age of 72, after battling both physical and emotional pain for much of his life. Don Sherman, who portrayed the patrolman in the Monkees in 1967 at the age of 35, brought a stern yet earnest energy to his role. But behind his professional facade, his personal life was marred by deep tragedy. Don experienced an unimaginable loss when his young son passed away in a tragic accident, an event that shattered his world and left him struggling to cope with the grief. His marriage, already strained by the demands of his career, ultimately ended in divorce. The pain from the loss of his son and the breakdown of his family weighed heavily on him. In his later years, Don's health began to fail, and he was diagnosed with cancer, which further compounded his struggles. Despite the hardships, Don remained active in his career, but the weight of his personal losses was always present. He passed away on June 15, 2012, at the age of 80, leaving behind a life defined by sorrow, loss, and the challenge of coping with his personal tragedies. William Billy Benedict, who played the old man in the Monkees in 1967, was 50 years old when he took on the role of the wise, comical character who brought a touch of humor and depth to the show. While his character was beloved, Billy's personal life was marked by tragedy and hardship. His first marriage ended in painful divorce, and his second marriage fared no better. Despite his career on screen, Billy's life off-camera was filled with emotional turmoil, financial struggles, and health complications. The emotional weight of his failed relationships, combined with physical struggles, left him in constant conflict with his inner peace. After undergoing heart surgery, his health deteriorated, and he ultimately passed away on November 25, 1999, at the age of 82. His death, a culmination of personal and physical suffering, left a legacy of unforgettable performances, but also a life defined by unseen struggles and painful loss. Arlene Martell, who portrayed the captivating Lorelei in the Monkees in 1966, was 30 years old when she brought the mysterious character to life. Lorelei, with her enigmatic charm, added depth and intrigue to the series, leaving an indelible mark on the show. However, Arlene's personal life was not as graceful. She was married twice, both of which ended in painful divorces, leaving her heartbroken and emotionally scarred. Her relationships were often turbulent, with struggles in finding lasting happiness and peace. Though she had a promising career in Hollywood, personal demons like depression, anxiety, and feelings of isolation clouded her later years. Arlene's health declined as she grew older, and despite her fame, she led a life overshadowed by emotional turmoil. She passed away on August 12, 2014, at the age of 78, her life defined by bittersweet moments of success and sorrow. Joy Harmon, who played the cheerful cashier in the Monkees in 1967, was 27 years old when she portrayed the bubbly and friendly character who added warmth to the series. However, Joy's life behind the scenes was far from the carefree image she projected on screen. Her first marriage ended in painful divorce, followed by a troubled second relationship that left her emotionally scarred. The pressures of Hollywood, coupled with her personal life struggles, led to battles with depression and feelings of isolation. Joy was often trapped in a cycle of unfulfilled dreams and painful losses. Despite her bright exterior, the shadow of her turbulent relationships lingered throughout her life. Now 84 years old in 2025, Joy leads a quiet, secluded life, reflecting on her years in the industry, marked by professional success but overshadowed by the emotional and personal struggles that defined her private life. Severn Darden, who played J.B. Guggins Jr. in the Monkees in 1966, was 37 years old when he started filming. J.B. Guggins Jr. was an eccentric, quirky character whose bizarre behavior and oddball persona became an essential part of the Monkees' offbeat charm. Severn's portrayal of the character was one of endearing weirdness, a reflection of his own life in many ways. Although Severn found a niche for himself as a character actor, his career never reached the heights he hoped for. Throughout his life, he faced several personal tragedies, including multiple failed marriages. His first wife, whom he married in the early 60s, left him after several years of a strained, loveless relationship. He later remarried, but his second marriage also ended in divorce, leaving him with no children. His personal life was filled with emotional turmoil and isolation. Severn's health worsened in the years leading up to his death, and on May 27, 1995, he succumbed to a heart attack at the age of 65. Joey Foreman, who portrayed Captain Crocodile in the Monkees in 1967, was 38 years old when he began filming. Captain Crocodile was a larger-than-life, villainous figure, full of over-the-top antics and exaggerated villainy that only served to highlight the chaotic, comedic nature of the Monkees' world. His portrayal was beloved for its eccentricity, adding an unforgettable touch to the show. Joey's career, however, was filled with harsh realities. Though he found consistent work in television and film, his life off-screen was far less glamorous. He married once, but his marriage ended in bitterness, and they had no children. Joey struggled with loneliness and depression, which overshadowed his professional successes. His health began to deteriorate in the early 1980s, and he was diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis. His decline was quick and painful, leading to his tragic death on December 9, 1982, at the age of 53. Robin Milan, who portrayed Vanessa in the Monkees from 1965 to 1966, was just 16 years old when she began filming. Vanessa was a lively, spirited young character, a symbol of youth and enthusiasm, whose carefree attitude contributed to the show's whimsical energy. Robin's career as an actress began with promise, but her personal life was filled with hardship from a young age. Despite being a teen star, she struggled with the pressures of fame, and her relationships with her family were strained. Robin married young, but her marriage ended in a painful divorce, leaving her with no children. After her brief stint on the Monkees, she disappeared from the public eye, and it was reported that she faced years of financial difficulty, emotional turmoil, and an ongoing battle with depression. She lived much of her life in relative obscurity, dealing with the consequences of her earlier fame and the disillusionment that followed. Robin passed away on July 14, 2020, at the age of 71, from natural causes. Georgia Schmidt, who played Jane in the Monkees in 1966 at the age of 62, brought a sense of kindness and stability to her role, providing warmth and support to the characters around her. In real life, however, Georgia faced a series of personal tragedies. After the unexpected death of her first husband in a car crash, she remarried, but that marriage quickly unraveled, ending in divorce. Despite being a devoted mother to her daughter Diane, the emotional distance between them grew over the years, adding to Georgia's sense of isolation. Professionally, her career never reached the heights she hoped for, and financial difficulties compounded the strain on her mental health. She struggled with depression and loneliness in her later years, which took a toll on her well-being. Georgia passed away on April 18, 1997, at 92. June Whitley Taylor, who portrayed Mrs. Russell in the Monkees in 1965 at the age of 44, brought a sense of compassion and guidance to her character, offering support to the Monkees in their times of need. However, her real-life story was marked by a series of unfortunate events. After a painful divorce from her first husband, June remarried, but the relationship quickly soured due to her second husband's alcoholism, leaving her to raise her two children, Thomas and Lillian, on her own. Despite her best efforts, her financial situation became strained, and her acting career failed to take off in the way she had hoped. The weight of these personal and professional challenges became even more overwhelming after her second husband's death from liver disease, which left her emotionally devastated. As she aged, June's health declined, and she lived in relative obscurity, overshadowed by the sadness and loss that plagued her personal life. June passed away on May 25, 2006, at 84. Micky Dolenz, who portrayed Micky in the Monkees in 1965 at the age of 20, became known for his goofy antics and infectious laughter, which made him a fan favorite. While his career flourished during the height of the Monkees' fame, his personal life was marked by troubled relationships. Micky married actress Samantha just in 1968, but their marriage ended in divorce after several years. His second marriage also ended in heartbreak, leaving him grappling with feelings of failure and loneliness. Though he had two daughters from these marriages, his relationships with them were strained. After the fame of the Monkees faded, Micky faced depression, financial struggles, and the challenge of finding purpose outside of his celebrity persona. As of 2025, Micky Dolenz, now 79, has continued his career in music, but the emotional scars of his past remain with him. His life has been a bittersweet journey, where personal happiness often seemed just out of reach, despite the joy he brought to others on screen. Monty Landis, who played Duce in the Monkees in 1967 at the age of 36, was a recurring antagonist known for his involvement in schemes against the Monkees. Behind his comedic villain role, Landis faced numerous personal challenges. His first marriage to actress Ethel Stokes ended in divorce, and the strain of his career and family life contributed to deep emotional scars. Despite having two children, his personal life remained troubled. Landis battled alcohol addiction throughout much of his life, which only compounded his issues, leading him into isolation and depression. As he aged, his health began to decline, and he struggled to maintain a sense of normalcy. Now 93 years old in 2025, Landis reflects on a life marked by unmet expectations and personal loss. His career never fully reached the heights he hoped for, and his personal struggles remained a painful reminder of the emotional cost of fame and unfulfilled dreams. Who is your favorite character from the Monkees? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much.